All right, in the first, in number one, they give us this distance, and we're looking for the distance across the lake or the pond. Okay, so if I draw a line from the right angle, right, that distance there is C. So they give me A and B. Okay, so I'm going to do A squared plus B squared. Okay, so 40 squared plus 30 squared equals C squared. 40 squared is 1600. 30 squared is 900 equals C squared. I add those, I get 2500. And then last step is to take the square root. Okay, so C equals 50. Okay, all right, number two. All right, so we're looking for the distance from the post office to Amy's house. All right, so I can make a right triangle going like that. There's my right angle. Okay, so if I draw a line, there's side C. It looks like the horizontal length is 6, right? If I count 6 boxes, and the vertical length is 8. So those are my A and B. Okay, so it's A squared plus B squared. Right, so 8 squared plus 6 squared equals C squared. So I have a 64 plus 36 equals C squared. I have 100 equals C squared. I take the square root, and C equals 10. All right, for number 3, it says a vertical ladder for a playground is 6 feet high. I'm going to draw the ground first. It says a vertical ladder, so that ladder is going straight up and down, and it's 6 feet high. And then there's a slide involved, right? The bottom of the slide is 8 feet from the base of the ladder, so I'm going to draw my slide. The slide is always going to be your diagonal. Okay, and it says the bottom of the slide is 8 feet from the base of the ladder, the bottom of the ladder. So this is 8. What is the length of this slide? There's my right angle. If I draw a line across, okay, so there's side C. That's what I'm looking for. So they give me A and B, A squared plus B squared, right? So 6 squared plus 8 squared equals C squared, just like, pretty much just like the top. 36 plus 64 equals C squared. Add those, you get 100. And then the last step is to take the square root. C equals 10. Okay. All right, number 4. All right, so you have a rectangular television screen. So I'm going to draw a rectangle for the television screen. Okay, and it says the size is the length of its diagonal. So we're looking for the size of this screen. Okay, it says that the length of the screen is 53. The width is 30. Okay, so it wants the diagonal, it wants the size of this television, right? It's not a 30-inch set, it's not a 53-inch set. The size is determined by its diagonal. All right, so if I draw my right angle at the corner, right, of the rectangle, draw a line to the opposite side. There's side C, so they're giving me A and B here, so it's A squared plus B squared. Okay, so I have 53 squared plus 30 squared equals C squared. Okay, all right, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up the calculator here. All right, so 53 squared, 53 times 53 gives me 2809. And then the 30 squared, that's going to give me 900 equals C squared. So I'm going to add the 2809 plus 900. So I'm going to do plus 900. 3709, so 3709 equals C squared. And then the last step is take the square root. So I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to hit the square root of 3709. Gives me 60.90. C equals 60.9. There it is, option B. All right, number 5. All right, so for number 5, use a diagram to explain the Pythagorean theorem. Martin used a diagram, this diagram, to explain the Pythagorean theorem to a classmate. Which statement did Martin use in his explanation? Looks like there's a right triangle right there. Looks like A is 3 and B is 4. Looks like C is 5, so it should be 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared, and there it is, option D. Okay. Oh, let me get rid of the calculator. All right, number 6. A quarterback throws a pass to another player to the nearest yard. What's the distance the pass was thrown? All right, so we're looking for this distance. All right, so we can make a right triangle to find that distance. The key thing here is you're not counting by ones. Look at the intervals for the y. Okay, y's are increasing by increments of 5. So this box of 3 here is actually 5 times 3, which is 15, right? He threw it from the 15-yard line to the 30-yard line, right? 30 minus 15 is 15. And then it looks like the horizontal distance is also 5, okay? So not just 2 here for the horizontal distance, that would be 10, okay? So there's my right angle. I'm looking for side C again, okay? So I have this, this is A, this is B. So A squared, so I have 15 squared plus 10 squared equals C squared. 15 squared is 225. 10 squared is 100. Okay, so I add these up. I get 325 equals C squared. And then last step is to take the square root. So let me pull up the calculator and take the square root of 325. So square root of 325 is about 18. So C equals about 18.02. Okay, 02. So that's option C. Okay. All right, let's go on to the next one. All right, so for the next one, it looks like, again, I'm looking for side C here. All right, so there's my A, there's my B. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and set it up. 24 squared plus 10 squared equals C squared. All right, so let's go ahead and clear everything here and do 24 times 24. That's 24 squared, so it's 576. So this is 576. Plus 100 equals C squared. So I add those up, you get 676 equals C squared. And then the last step is to take the square root. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides. Okay, so I just need to find the square root of 676. Square root of 676, and that gives me 25.4. 25.4. Let me just double check. That's 676. So this was number 7. Okay, so I guess the closest thing here, 67. Oh, I put 646. Okay, so 676. There it is, 26. Okay, so 26. So that's option C. Alright, so for number 8, which set of 3 numbers can be used to make a right triangle? Alright, so I think I will do one that doesn't and one that does. Okay, so number 8. Let's go ahead and do this one. We'll test A. Okay, 39 squared plus 41 squared. Okay. equals 45 squared. So I'm going to go ahead and type this into the calculator. So I'm going to clear everything here. So 39 squared plus 41 squared. 39 squared plus 41 squared. And that gives me 3202. So this gives me 3202. Okay. Let's test that 45 squared. 45 squared. And that gives me 2025. 2025. Okay, so these do not equal. You don't want to choose A. Okay. All right, let's test out C. So C, I'm going to test out 39 squared plus 69 squared equals 99 squared. Okay. All right, so let's test out the 39 squared plus 69 squared. 39 squared plus 69 squared, and that gives me 6282. So 6282. And let's test out that 99 squared. 99 squared. Oh, that is not it either. Okay. Equals 9809. Okay, so it's not C. All right, let's test out D. All right, so I got 39 squared plus 80 squared equals 89 squared. All right, so let's test this one out. 39 squared plus 80 squared. Okay, 7921. So 7921. Okay, and let's test out that 89 squared. And look, it's 7291. Okay, so right over here, 7921, 7921. All right, so that's the one that's the right triangle. Okay, so it's option D. Okay, so option D. All right, so let me put this down so you can get everything there. Okay, so number 9. Why is it not possible to make a right triangle using the lengths 10, 60, and 65? Okay, well 10 and 60, okay, we're gonna test this out as A and B. Okay, so let's test it out to see if it makes a right triangle or not. So I got 10 squared plus 60 squared equals 65 squared. Okay. All right, so I'm going to pull up the calculator here and just test out these numbers. Okay, so let's clear all for our new problem. So I got 10 squared plus 60 squared gives me 3,700. Okay, let's test out that 65 squared. And it gives me 4225. So 4225. So A squared plus B squared does not equal C squared. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at our options. 10 squared plus 60 squared does not equal 65 squared. This is the one we're looking for. That's what we just did over there to test it. Okay. All right. Number 10. A wire is stretched from the top of an 8-foot pole. Let's go ahead and draw our ground. All right, so there's our 8-foot pole to a bracket 5 feet from the base of the pole. So there's a bracket down here, okay, and it is 5 feet from the base of the pole to the nearest hundredth. How long is the wire? So we're looking for this wire that goes like this. So there's our A, there's our B. Okay, so let's go ahead and do 8 squared plus 5 squared equals, there's our right angle, so we're looking for C, equals C squared. Okay, 8 squared is 64 plus 5 squared is 25 equals C squared. I add those up, I get 89 equals to C squared, and then the last step is to take the square root. So I'm going to go ahead and take the square root of 89. Okay, so let's go ahead. Square root of 89 gives me 9.4. So C equals 9.4. And there is the option right there. Option C. All right, a park is in the shape of a rectangle. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a rectangle.
Kirsten, it says we have this class.
Hey. All right, so shape of a rectangle, 8 miles long and 6 miles wide. So I'm going to draw 8 and 6. How much shorter is your walk if you walk diagonally across the park along the two sides of it? So let's go ahead and find that distance. So I'm gonna look for C first. So there's the opposite side, side C. All right. So if I add these two up, that would be 14. 8 plus 6 is 14. Let's find side C. Side C you'd get by 8 squared plus 6 squared equals C squared. All right, so that's 64 plus 36 equals C squared. So I have 100 equals C squared. And then the square root of 100 is 10. So if I just walked straight across, that would be 10. So 10 minus 14. So it's saying how much shorter? It's 4 miles shorter, or 4 feet, or 4 miles.